What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the tier list series that we have been doing on the channel. We haven't done a series video like this in a while because I just genuinely haven't been looking for tier lists and I kind of fell off with them. But seeing as how there has not been a lot on the gaming front, I think that it's a perfect time for us to come back to tier lists, and I really enjoy making them. So I decided to make this tier list of Pokemon Unite Pokemon, just because I've been spending a lot of time on Pokemon Unite, and I probably need to go see somebody about it, but I mean, at least I can make content about it, and hopefully you guys agree with me. But before we begin, this is also just all the Pokemon that have been released up to the point of making this video. So if somebody's watching this in the future and you're like, huh, Blastoise isn't on here, huh, like the Evolution isn't on here, this is only when Gardevoir has been released. And also there might be patches in the future, so if you guys don't agree with the list, please tell me down in the comments below what patch you guys are playing on that made you think about this and why you think that these Pokemon should be in different positions. But this is all my opinion, so before anybody gets all really butthurt, just keep that in mind. Be civil about it. Come on, guys. We're all humans here. We can think for ourselves sometimes. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and hop right into it. We're starting off with Absol. Honestly, I really love Absol. I think Absol's a great Pokemon aesthetically and competitively. I think that it does a lot of great things for your team. Granted, he is kind of relegated to only jungling, which is really rough because jungling kind of is a role that always gets filled, considering it only needs one player on the team. That being said, I still think he's a solid A. I don't think he's an S as where he's at right now because he does have some major drawbacks, majorly being the fact that he doesn't really have that much sustain in my opinion, and he just feels a little awkward. I don't know. There's something about him that feels awkward to me, and I can't solidly put him in S tier without that being fixed. But I do know that I drop a lot of lives to Absol. As soon as I see him come out of the jungle, he is just instantly on my ass, you know? So I can't really get away from him. But he's definitely a solid pick. I will never be upset if somebody picks Absol. Decent damage output, which is what you want in a jungler. Definitely able to nuke somebody if he comes out. And if he is not able to nuke, then he can chase him down with Pursuit or something. You know, he's just a solid pick all around. And genuinely, quite a good baseline for, a tier Pokemon. Next on the list is Alolan Ninetales. I feel like this is honestly going to be the first controversial one. Maybe not, but I genuinely think Alolan Ninetales is right behind Absol, right up to the butt cheek to butt cheek here, right? Because Absol is really good in damage, but Alolan Ninetales, where it lacks in damage, it has a ridiculously good passive. Yeah, it's part of its passive, but essentially its passive is Snow Warning, and that's where when it comes into range of something, it summons an Ice Veil and it hits the opponent. But it also has a secondary part where if you get 4 little charges on its ice meter, it freezes the bond, which is really good, and you can pair it up in many different ways. I particularly use Avalanche along with Blizzard because I really love blocking people off from getting to their tower. But I've seen people run Dazzling Gleam, Aurora Veil late game. I've seen people run Dazzling Gleam and Blizzard. My friend Angry has run that, and it's worked for him before, and it's genuinely still high enough damage that I think it's worth it. Team fights, immaculate, and solo play, you're able to hold out until your team gets there. It's genuinely one of the best mons on the roster right now, and I love playing it. It's genuinely I think my second most played mon right now, behind Gardevoir, and I don't know where I would be in ranking without being able to play this. Next up is Charizard. I'll be honest, Charizard's a solid, either a C or B. High C, definitely. Maybe even pushing into low B. I think Charizard's a freaking great pick. The problem is that I just feel like with all-rounders in general, they are very late gamey, except save Lucario. But the all-rounders are good, but they don't do any one thing great, and that's the true essence of an all-rounder. I get that. But that being said, Charizard just seems like he can't really do much other than his ult, and then even then, after his ult, he really needs help finishing off a couple choice mons that can easily nuke him without somebody else. So that's the main issue on that. Cinderace, I don't know about Cinderace. Cinderace, he's definitely really good. I get nuked by Cinderace way too often to even really care to explain. I feel like he's honestly our first S tier though. I know that the #1 player right now, Carvin, and he runs Cinderace a lot. But he also runs a lot of Talonflame and Jungle and stuff like that. He is definitely a Phil player. But that being said, I feel like Cinderace is honestly like one of the best mons right now. He has wicked range. He just got his Pyro Ball buffed, which is a really good thing for his kit. He did get his attack nerfed a little bit, but honestly, even with the attack nerf, I think that when you see a Cinderace, you gotta run, because his range matched with his DPS output is just immaculate. You cannot get away from it. He is a force to be reckoned with on the pitch, honestly. Kramer, I think that Kramer's a solid B. And the problem that I have with Kram is that he has the range, he has the damage, he has all of this, but for some reason, I feel like it's his base stats that are kind of holding him back. When I see a Kramer, I always think, if late game when we're going into a team fight, I would always prefer Cinderace over Kramer. And that's the main thing holding him back, just better options, I feel like. And yes, he has crowd control over Cinderace, but in that regard, there's so many mons that have so much better crowd control and the damage on top of it. Just look at Alolan Ninetales. Alolan Ninetales doesn't have as much damage as Kram, but way better crowd control. So I think that Kram is ultimately going to be placed underneath Alolan Ninetales. I think that it's just better to run Alolan Ninetales in pretty much any situation that you would probably want to run Kram. Crustle is probably C tier for me. I think that Crustle is another solid mon that is just lacking some part to his kit, that secret sauce, you know? Crustle it's got versatility, right? Because I've seen damage Crustle and I've seen wall Crustle. I've ran against them both very many times, and I do not wish to see them either when they're in my lane. But that being said, Crustle is suffering kind of from the same thing as Kram, where there's a better option for him in the current roster. In the current roster, literally Mime can do walls better than him. Hell, even Alolan Ninetales can do walls better than him and have a little more versatility with it. And also, if you want to go on a limb here, Snorlax's blocks literally walls them, stuns them, and he can also get another stun with his heavy slam. So genuinely, I feel like Crustle is suffering from the same problems as Kram, that there's just so many better options available. That being said, I would love to see Crustle get some more buffs. I think that Crustle is a very cool mon, especially with Shell Smash. He has a wicked amount of chase down potential. But that being said, I think that Crustle just has to be falling into C tier here. Eldegoss is definitely one that I know people are gonna hate me for. I think Eldegoss is D, or like pretty much D tier. Like I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's my teammates just have never ran it right. Every time I see an Eldegoss on my team, every time I see that beautiful cotton afro, right? The little onigiri, as one of my viewers typically calls him, I just can't help but be a little upset about it. I have genuinely, every single time I've seen this, I have not had any sense of joy in it. Every time I see it on the enemy team, I'm like, oh, let's go. This is a free mon. They're just wasting a spot here. And I don't know what it is, but I've just never had a teammate that has genuinely wowed me with Eldegoss. I've played Eldegoss. I have like a 50% win rate with him. I'm very average with it. Like, it's definitely a resident mon for me. It's not a fun mon to play, but sometimes it was required because nobody was playing support or CC, and it was the only support mon I had at the time. So it's a weird position. Like, it's not fun. I genuinely have not seen a good play with him, and aside from a few Zapdos steals, it's never wowed me. So I'm sorry to all of you Eldegoss stans. I genuinely think that it's not that great. Next up is Garchomp. Actually, Garchomp and Gardevoir, we can kind of lump these two together, honestly. Garchomp and Gardevoir are both very late game mons. They evolve to their second evolution at level 6, and they don't get to their third full potential until level 10, and I'm pretty sure they don't get their Unite moves until then either. Garchomp, on the other hand, is a physical attacker, and I feel like Gible is much less versatile than Gardevoir. Gible is probably going to land in A tier still, but I would say very low A tier, with Gible being the main drawback on that. And I think that once you get to late game, actually, no, he's B tier. He's 100% B tier, because even in late game, I feel like a lot of people run him just for his ult. And if you're running a Mon specifically for ult and, like, not much else beyond that, then there's an issue with that Mon. And I genuinely love Garchomp. I love his design. I love his Zerko, like his costume that they've given for him. I think they've given... No, they didn't. No, they did give a costume for him, I'm pretty sure. The beach costume, I'm pretty sure they gave for Garchomp. But yeah, it just leaves a little bit to be wanted in the early and mid-game sections. And sure, late game, you're going to have a blast, but the early to mid-game is really boring, and you have to play so conservatively that I genuinely do not like it. Gardevoir, on the other hand, I think I'm going to put Gardevoir in, like, higher B than Cram. Because it's the same issues, right? The same issues that we're having with Garchomp here. Garchomp is good, but it's late game. The early to mid game with Ralts is very frail, very scary to play as. Being somebody who mains Gardevoir, I know this to a T. I hate early to mid game with Gardevoir. But that being said, as soon as you get Kirlia, the burners are turned on, and usually your mid game can be accelerated because Kirlia levels up really fast. At least I feel like they do. And I typically am able to hit Gardevoir without any much regard as long as I hit that level 6. That being said, you still have to play very scared, but the extra added range is what I think puts him above Garchomp. The added range makes it to where you can play a little more risky and not have that inherent chance of death at every moment, you know? So I think that they go obviously above Cram on this one. Gengar is up next. I wanna believe in Gengar. I genuinely think Gengar's a really great Mon. He recently got his Hex nerfed, and I don't know what the Hex nerf actually did. But with that being said, I think Gengar's probably... he's probably low B. And, no, I'm gonna put him in C. I'm even gonna put him in C. Because his whole entire kit here, right? I need you to follow me on this, relies on one thing, and that is Hex. On top of that, you need to land a Sludge Bomb before it for the Hex to be able to go really popping off. And that's the issue with it. If he misses that Sludge Bomb, or if the enemy is running full heal, then that is a big issue for him. Because essentially, you can break the Hex, it turns into a 6-second cooldown if he doesn't hit somebody that has been Sludge Bomb, and then on top of that, it's just not that good if he misses. So I think that Gengar honestly deserves to be in C tier. A lot of people are going to be upset about that, but it's where he deserves, man. Greninja. Greninja is a mystery to me, to say the least. I want to put him in A, but I don't know where in A. Greninja is one of those mons that does cost 10,000. He's on the expensive side of things, so it is a little hard to place him right now because not a lot of people use him. Now, the 14-day reward was Greninja. The 14-day login reward was Greninja, so I'm starting to see a lot more Greninjas being played. That being said, I think that Greninja is still an A-tier mon. I don't think he's quite to Cinderace levels of godliness, but I think that he's definitely a solid choice for anybody looking to pick up the game. He's a physical ranged attacker, so he's definitely got a lot of options, and there's no real defense against physicality right now. The only real big defense against special attack is the Assault Vest, but that Assault Vest is enough. So that's the issue. There's no real good physical defense yet. Lucario, I would put Lucario in probably a solid B tier, I would say. Lucario is not bad by any means. The problem with Lucario right now is that after his early game, he kind of falls off. You have to scale early game in order to keep him in the game for long enough, which, the thing is, I love early game scalers. I really do. Being able to just completely put the smack down on somebody that early on is really fun, really entertaining, and it's a great way to build the rest of your team's morale up throughout the game. That being said, Lucario, if you don't keep ahead, you lose it. So, that's the issue there. He's still a great mon. I think he's extremely viable in competitive play, but other than that, he just needs a little bit of different stuff thrown into the mix in order to make him really shine. Machamp, another B tier. Kind of along the same lines as Charizard. He does everything, but he doesn't do any one thing crazy. The reason I put him so far above Charizard is because of submission. He has a submission move where he grabs and suplexes people, and it's actually busted right now. I'm pretty sure it's a bug, but I could be wrong. But there's occasionally sometimes where you will eject button or even full heal, and the full heal and eject just won't work, and he'll still be able to submit you. I know that the full heal is supposed to work because I've done it and I've been able to get out of his grasp before. But if he starts his animation, there's a little bit of weirdness going on with it. But submission is great either way. Being able to CC somebody, throw them back towards your people a little bit, and hope for the other CC carries to get there and, you know, stun them for the meantime for you to finish them off is really great. Not to mention his ult, very JoJo. I love JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I love Ora, and that's why I think he deserves this B tier. But that being said, it might change in the future, especially if he gets, you know, bug fixed. Mr. Mime. I think Mr. Mime might be C tier. Nah, I'm gonna put Mime in B tier. There's a lot of B tiers here, in my opinion. Mime is gonna be B tier for me. Honestly, Mime's walls are really good. I think I'm gonna put Mime above Garchomp, though. Mime's walls are really great and really fun to use. But that being said, it takes a big brain player to actually put him to his fullest potential, and it takes a lot of skill to make him run well, because he's got like a weird physical, like a melee attack mixed with ranged, and it takes a lot of interesting working around to get that to work early game. That being said, I think that Mime is definitely really good for late game Zapdos fights, team fights, stuff like that. He has a really good knock-up, and his walls can be used in ways that are just ridiculous if used in the proper opportunities. It can split up a team, it can prevent them from coming in through mid lane where everybody apparently loves to funnel into, although they know that they're going to get murked that way. So yeah, I really think that Mime is a solid B tier mon. Pikachu's really high damage, but I'm just gonna say it, chat. I don't like Pikachu. I don't like how he plays. I think that he's just a resident mon in this game. I would put him, like, just based off of his play alone, I'm putting him in probably C tier. He's a really strong mon, but he's a really boring one. He has every move in his arsenal is pretty much a sure hit. As long as they're within range, they're a sure hit. His Thunderstorm, really lackluster. It does a lot of damage, yes. It's a big AoE, yes. But there's no skill with him, you know? You just gotta get within range and then let the move go, and then automatically it hits them. And I always have a problem with, like, champions in games like this, where they have sure hit moves that just do a ridiculous amount of damage, because it's a low skill player, and we should not reward low skill players like that, in my opinion. It's the same reason that I didn't like Moira and Overwatch. It just genuinely feels hollow, and like they're catering to a more casual audience. And it's okay to cater to casual audiences, but it should not be to the point where it is viable in high tier play. Slowbro, easy A tier. I freaking love Slowbro. I play Slowbro quite a bit when I need to go on a defender role, and Slowbro has a ridiculous amount of CC with him. He has Surf, he has Telekinesis, he has his Unite move. Even before then, like, Water Gun and Slack Off are really strong. Water Gun can do a lot of damage early game. Slack Off pretty much prevents any chance that you have at dying, as long as you play it right, obviously. There's still a heavy chance of you dying if you play it wrong. That being said, I think that Slowbro, his stuff shows itself. The only problem is that he doesn't have that versatility that a lot of other mons do. I think that if you run Amnesia, you can run Amnesia over Telekinesis, but Scald over Surf, just completely out of the question. I have never seen a successful Scald build for Slowbro. If you can make it work, by all means, go for it. I just personally have not seen a successful Scald build. It has always been overshadowed by the fact that Surf can knock up not once, but when you get to Surf Plus, it knocks up 3 times. You can knock them up for a solid 3 seconds, telekinesis them for another 3, pull them back towards you, and then also Unite move if they're not dead after that. It is not a chance in the world that you are going to get out of there. If there is even one teammate near you when the Slowbro pops out of the bushes, you are decimated, and that's what I love about him. Snorlax, I'm gonna be honest, this is the second S tier. This is the only other S tier that I'm probably gonna put on the list. I think Snorlax is crazy. Snorlax has so much versatility, so much damage early game, and honestly, like, he's just busted in my opinion. All around, one of the only single evolution mons that doesn't need another power boost. He's crazy. Early game, his damage is out the wazoo, dude. He is literally so cracked early game that I almost always take Sinner's Farm And even usually the opponent's first farms, like one of the opponent's farms, with him on my lane or on my team in general. And on top of that, late game, block, yawn, heavy slam. I don't know what the last one is, but I'm sure it's great. And his Unite move makes it to where he cannot die to like even a team attacking him. I've seen this man outlive teams and live to tell the tale after they have ulted on him and used their whole kits just from his Unite move alone. He is crazy and such a good stall and defender mon. Against even a Zapdos push, this man can probably solo hold one of the tower points, if I'm going to be honest with you. If he is played right, he can solo hold one of the tower points, and that is insanely good. I think that every team needs a Snorlax just for Zapdos alone. Because even if you think that you're ahead, you could get Zapdos stolen from you by a solid, let me just say, Venusaur Unite move. Venusaur is a sniper, you know? He can easily take that, so I think that he is a solid S tier pick, and every team should always have a Snorlax. I might even put him above Cinderace just because, like, he's the only defender that I can think of that is almost necessary in this game. That being said, coming up to Talonflame, I love Talonflame, I really do, I really do. But the issue with Talonflame is that he is very frail. You're literally running him as an intercontinental ballistic missile, an ICBM at this point, a nuke. So the issue with him is that I genuinely think that the only way that you can get him to work is using X attack. You can kind of get out a little bit, but I think that not Cinderace. I think that Talonflame is probably somewhere in the B tier. I would put him above Cram, below Gardevoir though. I think that he's a great nuke character. He can come in out of the bushes. He's a great jungler. I love playing him. He was my first main, and he will always have a soft spot in my heart. But other than that, I think that he's just kind of, he's overshadowed by other mons that are available that can jungle better than him, in my opinion. Venusaur recently got buffed, but he's still D tier, if I'm being honest. The only reason you really run Venusaur is for the Solar Beam and, like, his Unite move snipes. But I think that genuinely, it might even be lower than what people might think. Because the thing is that, like, Venusaur's Solar Beam has a charge up. It's very easy to dodge with the amount of dashes in the game, amount of stuns, amount of CC. There is no reason that Venusaur should ever really shine. His charge up is too long on a Solar Beam. His Sludge Bomb doesn't really do as much damage, and I don't think that you can even proc Hex off of it. I think that you have to use Gengar Sludge Bomb. So therefore, I think that it's just, He's a very character, and there's much more that you can do with a lot of other mons in better positions than him. Wigglytuff recently got a buff. Originally, Wigglytuff would have been in, like, D or C tier, but I think that Wigglytuff's recent buff honestly put him really high on my list. I'm going to put him above Cram as well into B tier. This is looking very bell-shaped. I'm liking that. But yeah, I think Wigglytuff is definitely B tier. I think that with the buff to the Tuff, his slapping damage is insane. The amount of CC that he can get just off of Sing alone is wicked. He can really pull a team fight together, even if you're missing a few scraps. Like if two of your people go down, Wigglytuff can come in, sleep the whole team, and that is enough to win the fight if he just places it in there right. That being said, I still think that there is some weird stuff going on with Tuff right now. I think that Tuff is, for some reason, not tanky enough. I don't know. There's something about Tuff that seems really fragile. Every time I see him out there, it seems like they die really easily. And I also think that people aren't running Tuff right, but that just also could be a problem about me. So yeah, I think that Tuff is great, but he needs a little bit more TLC to make him really shine on the field here. The last one that we have today is Zetaaur. I think Zetaaur is solid. A lot of people are calling for Zetaaur nerfs. And I think that genuinely people are just overestimating how much Zetaaur actually is doing on the team. Yes, he has a really good AoE and discharge. Yes, he has dashes, but genuinely after getting to like veteran rank, I feel like I have not really had that many issues with Zetaaur. You can kind of tell just based off of your map awareness when Zetaaur is wanting to dive in, when he's wanting to back out. And it's a very predictable mon. You can kind of gauge his range, and if you gauge his range right, there's nothing to really fear about this. That being said, there is some issues with the fact that his Unite move was nerfed. I will admit that his Unite move was nerfed, so he can kind of have less AoE than he originally did. But that being said, there's still an issue with how many dashes. I think the dashes is the main reason that he is so viable right now. He can get in, out, in, and then go wherever on the map just with those dashes alone. And that's what makes this thing really versatile and really scary to face on the field. Now, his mobility isn't going to get him to the top tier, the S tier like Cinderace or Snorlax, but he is still really good Mon, and he is decent for stealing Zapdos as well. But without further ado, that's the end of the list. It's not, I think I stand by all of these. I mean, Venusaur probably will go up in future patches. Some of these places might switch around, but I think that this is a good list, and I think that genuinely a lot of people will probably agree with me on most of these places. Some of these, like Gengar, people will probably be upset about, but that being said, I still think that it's a really good list. And yeah, so if you guys enjoyed this tier list video, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it, and that we will see you guys hopefully sooner than 3 months next time. And hopefully we will be able to give you another tier list that is worth looking at. I'm trying to use this as a way to branch out my content and show you guys just all kind of things that I am interested in. I already have a few more planned for the future, and I can't wait to make that content for you all. Other than that, though, guys, if you made it to this point in the episode, please tell me what you think about the tier list down below. And also, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. And I'll see you guys out here on the next tier list video. See you all later.